A very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. And we are happy to have you along on this Thursday afternoon as we are 2 days away from college football getting underway, 1 day away from high school football here in Pennsylvania, and a mere 9 days away from Penn State football and the trip to Morgantown to take on West Virginia.
By God.
And that game, Goon, is, as we have talked about, I think it is a good one in a few different ways for Penn State to get the season started. But it is a good one only presuming that the Nittany Lions do, in fact, win the game.
Yep.
And I think most Penn State fans, and I think both of us, are kind of presuming exactly that Penn State is, in fact, going to win that game and use it as a springboard to a good run through the month of September at the very least. And we both believe this is going to be a good season at the very least for Penn State. But this team does have to get the W. And I think they will. I just think they're the better team at the end of the day. I think they have the more talented roster. I think they have the better coordinators. I think they have more talent at more key spots on both sides of the ball. I do think that West Virginia team is going to be super, super jacked.
Yep.
And I do think Penn State is going to have to match the intensity. I think the one slight danger is that this team treats this game the way it did the Pitt game when James Franklin went to Pitt for the first time and Pitt was ready and raring to go.
2016.
And yes, and Penn State was not so much. And Penn State had to try to play catch up, darn near pulled it out anyway. But I don't really think this, I'm not expecting that to be the situation here. For one thing, everybody gets jacked for a season opener, regardless of the opponent. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Goon.
No.
You've been there, but it doesn't matter if you're playing a nobody and also like you are super pumped just to be out there. I think the fact that this game is nationally televised, you're on the road, all of those things, I just can't see Penn State not at least coming close. I don't know that they're going to have quite the same intensity that West Virginia is going to have. I don't know that West Virginia is going to have quite the same intensity that Pitt had either. Again, that was just a unique set of circumstances, I think, that led to the
Pitt was very good that year, very senior laden. We were young, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think this West Virginia team is very good on the offensive side. I think this is a really good offense. I think it is a very dangerous team on that side of the ball and with that quarterback. Where I think Penn State, and listen, I think that's strength versus strength. I mean, Penn State's defense, I think, will be up to the challenge. Now, with the rules the way they are and favoring the offense, again, West Virginia may score some points, may put up some yards. I don't think they're going to be able to match what I think Penn State is going to do on the offensive side. And again, we'll see how it all plays out, but I have very high expectations for what this offense is capable of. At the end of the day, the biggest concern for me remains that receiving core and how consistently that group can just make the routine plays, the routine catches. I think they're going to be put in position And I think with Kotelnicki's schemes, they're going to have open receivers. And I think Drew Aller is much more often than not going to deliver the ball where they can make a play. You just need that group to consistently go make the play. I think if that happens, and the team avoids crazy injuries, I think this is set up beautifully for Penn State to have a very successful season, 10-2 or better.
Sure. I'm right with you on that 10-2, 11-1. That's what my prediction was with Mark Brennan and Friedel State. So 24-7 Lions, whatever he heard. Yeah. I went 11-1, 10-2. I forget which one, but it's the Ohio State game. But that's the season prediction. Whatever. This game, you got to take your hat off to James and openers. I mean, he really has his guys historically. This will be his 10th or 11th opener. And I don't think he's lost. Has he lost one? Was that Pitt game the opener?
No.
Yeah, it was the second game of the year. So James has historically done very, very, very well to open seasons up in the opening games. Granted, we're not playing the powerhouses, but West Virginia is a pretty damn good team, and we're going to be there. And that's all West Virginia has thought about. It's all Penn State has thought about since the spring of last year is that first game. I can guarantee you that our defense, when our offense was working, it would work against the defense that West Virginia runs. Promise you that. That goes back to the spring, the whole through the summer and all that stuff they've been working against on this game, getting ready to go against West Virginia. And James is going to, he knows, and he has these guys. He better have them prepared for crazy, Terror Dome, crazy fans, because that place is notorious for just absolute mayhem. And it's going to be absolute mayhem down there. For that game, because it just means so much to them playing Penn State, and we haven't been on the roster in a long time. I mean, 92 was the last time we played West Virginia.
Yeah.
92. Well, obviously last year. Sorry, excuse me. But, 92 was the last time. The last time we were there was 1992, and I was on that team.
Yeah.
They're going, and that's one of those long, old school Eastern Conference hates that, Penn State had dominated for so long. That West Virginia, like Pitt, like Syracuse, like Maryland, like Rutgers, like Temple, absolutely hate Penn State because, for 50 years they were trying to get over that Penn State hurdle. And, the coaches are going to try and bring – the West Virginia coaches are going to try and bring that because, the fans are definitely going to have that feeling.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, you know the stories of West Virginia and how crazy their fan base is.
Oh, yeah. I do – I do think it is a huge break that Penn State has that game at noon and not a night game. I hear what you're saying, and the atmosphere is going to be. I mean, they are going to be into it. I mean, I'm not saying it's just going to be like a typical Northwestern game when you're on the road and the stands are maybe 3/4 full and it's quiet. I get that it's going to be loud. I get that they're going to be into it. I'm just telling you, the juice that would be there for a night game versus what will be there for this noon kickoff, it's just different. It's less. There's no – and it's just like Penn State. Ohio State, it's going to be a big game. Everybody's going to be jacked up. A noon kickoff is just different than if you get that whiteout crowd and everybody, building up their energy, Goon, throughout the afternoon is what's happening.
I got to tell you something. I'm on a text thread with about 20, 30 people that are from the 94 team. All of us are talking about, when we're getting back here for our reunion and stuff like that. And somebody brought up how West Virginia's got they got a pretty smart mouth right now, the way they're talking about, they don't respect us, this and that. So they're definitely getting their heads full of that. But we all agreed, all of us had played there in the 92 game, and every one of us said this, and this is not a lie, Jeff. You're going to be a little taken back by this. It was the loudest place we had ever played.
I believe
it was.
Yeah,
I
believe it.
I played Ohio State at Ohio State one time in 1993. Got absolutely smoked by them. So that was loud. That was crazy. But West Virginia, that was absolutely insane how loud it was. And we all agreed it was like, you know what, you're right. We played in some pretty loud places. The Big House is not loud. The Rose Bowl is not loud.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is not loud, but I will tell you this one right now. West Virginia is a really, really loud place. And I don't know if they've actually improved the stadium. Have they built more stands? Has it gotten bigger? Are they putting levels up on there? I don't know what they've done in their stadium in the last 25 years. But it's crazy to think that we all agreed with that it was the loudest. And you wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
But it was a night game. Again, I think that they had a full day of libation to get ready for that nighttime game. Got a good story for you. Like, we were all, when you get down the offensive line, you go to the sideline, and Dick Anderson would be sitting there drawing up on the whiteboard what defense you saw. Somebody in the crowd had a laser pointer, but you're in West Virginia. You don't think that's a laser pointer. It was a laser pointer, thank God, because there wasn't any gunshots. But at the time, you didn't know. I mean, it was that ruckus of a crowd that we wouldn't have been surprised if something like that.
Yeah.
But we were just sitting there, and he's talking, and there's this light beeping all over, and we're like, what do you say? What are you supposed to say? Like, Coach, there's somebody scoping you out here. I don't know what I hope it's a laser pointer, but that's the little stuff that you remember from those games is crazy. I had one play. I played one play in that game.
Did you?
Yeah, one play. That's what I was a redshirt freshman. I was a backup guard, and I think Jurek came out. He had like a burner in his neck, and I'm like sitting there. I'm looking at Coach Anderson, and he's like, "Well, get in there," Like I was supposed to no, and I'm like,
"Here we go."
Yeah. And it was just like I went in for one play, and they called like a choice play, and a play that I actually had to just cross with the tackle block down, and I kicked out. I was playing guard, and I gave one of those swipe cuts and just kept on rolling, and the guy went down eventually, so I got a plus on the play. But
there
it didn't look pretty, but it got the job done. Exactly what Coach Anderson said. He goes, "Well, you got a plus because the block got made. It took you a while, but it got made." It was funny. And then the Jira came in the next play, and I came running off. So a little stuff, buddy.
Job well done.
That was 32 years ago. Oh my goodness gracious.
Couple of other notes. Big trade today. The Commanders and the Eagles making a trade. One Jahan Dotson is heading to Philadelphia to bolster that receiving core. And this seems like a pretty big win for the Eagles. Goon. Dotson is a really good receiver. And I think, I don't know. To me, this is just a big
the Red
get
or
for
the
Philadelphia.
Commanders are breaking in a true, rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels from LSU.
Yep.
They're breaking him in, and you're going to take the best wide receiver that he has on that team. And maybe they suspect that maybe he's not the best wide receiver on that team. Maybe somebody has taken that mantle from him, but I don't understand how he became trade bait for him, and even worse, in division.
I'm with you.
So right now, the Giants have lost Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. The Commanders
all the
lost
Penn Staters in the
Dotson.
NFC East are Philadelphia bound.
It cost Jahan Dotson. It cost a 5th-round pick to get Jahan Dotson on the Eagles. So I'm waiting for the Cowboys got to give a little gift to the Eagles. I'm thinking I have a pretty good idea. I think they're just going to CD Lamb's is not going to play this year. That'd be the perfect hat trick for the NFC East. Yeah, but I mean, do you ever?
I don't know. Maybe they're just going to give you Micah Parsons for a 3rd round pick or something.
Someone's going to have to pay him soon. But do you remember any? I don't remember like this kind of in conference, in division camaraderie. I mean, right?
No, that is probably the weirdest part of the. I mean, the whole trade just seems odd to me from the outside looking in.
Yes,
but to do it within the division with both of those, with Saquon and Jahan, it is a bit of a head scratcher, to say the least.
I mean, as an Eagles fan, I'm going to say this, and he's the 3rd best receiver on the team now. it's a demotion for him, pretty much. You'd think, right?
I
mean, that's a
yes.
nice option for the Eagles to have. Trust me. I think that. I mean, I don't know what the Commanders were thinking. It's obviously not an injury. It can't be. It's just, it's bizarre, and I don't get it. But I'm happy as heck with it, though. I can't lie to you about that, buddy. I think it's a heck of a deal for the Eagles. What do you lose? You lost a 5th-round pick, and you get a great number 3, who actually was a number 1. So the Eagles truly have 3 number 1s right now.
Not a bad place to be.
Nope.
For sure.
Nope. Oh, man. I was looking forward to it. Did you, I did notice, speaking of the NFL, that this is the last weekend of no games, right? So this is the last preseason game. They have next week. Next weekend will be the home. Okay, so it is 2 weeks. There always has been 2 weeks. So, yes, it is 2 weeks. It is normal. Excuse me. Because usually the first game the NFL guys can actually get back to their alma maters for, because there's no NFL games.
Right.
Obviously not the Eagles and Packers. They play Friday, so they'll be in game week that week during our game. The same as is it the Ravens? Are they playing the Chiefs opening game? Is that the opening Thursday night game?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a heck of a game. And did you? I know we haven't talked about it, but the NFL sending 2 green teams to Brazil, and they tell you not to wear
green,
the color green when you're in that city. It just seems a little weird that they'd ask the two of the 3 teams that are green in the league to go out and do that. Just funny.
Yep. Expectations are fairly high in Iowa for the upcoming season, but they have been devastated because head coach Kirk Ferentz and an assistant will be suspended for the Illinois State game, Goon, on August 31st.
Yep. I did see that.
Any chance you see Iowa overcoming that?
The most shocking thing that came out of that article and that thing to me was?
What's that?
That Kirk Ferentz is 69 years old.
Yeah. How old did you think he was?
Not 69.
Older or younger?
I mean, I'm going to tell you this right now. I thought he was he's been the coach there for 26 years. So I just see him as that younger coach.
Wow.
He was one of the youngest coaches in college football when he started. Yeah. He is, okay. So on my senior year, 1995, on Joe Paterno's birthday, I wished him a happy 69th birthday. Now, Joe, that was my 5th year. And for 5 years before that, when I was getting recruited, it was negative recruiting about Joe's age.
Yep.
And then I see that Kirk Ferentz is 69 years old, and I've never heard one thing being said about his age. The only guy who's dealing with the age issue is Mac Brown, that people are negatively recruiting against North Carolina because of his age. And it is what it is. But, I just sit there, I'm laughing because Joe in 1995 was 69 years old. And that's the exact same age as Kirk Ferentz right now. And I just don't see him as that old Joe Paterno type of guy. I still see him as a younger guy in his 50s. I was more taken aback by his age. Good for him. He looks great.
Yeah.
But he's going to be 70 this year. That's Kirk Ferentz. Again, it was the young guy in Iowa back in the day. I'm just very, very impressed. But it just goes back to that was the knock on Joe for how long? It was his age.
Oh, yeah.
He was 64 years old when he was recruiting me in 1990. 64 years old, and he had to answer the questions. One of his recruiting things, I'm going to be there for your 5 years. I know that every other coach I taught you, the old man's not going to be there. The old man's not going to be there. The old man's not going to be there. Every coach that was recruiting me was talking smack about Joe's age. And Kirk Ferentz is that age that it's, I don't know, more mind-boggling than anything else there, Jeffrey.
Yeah, Ferentz is meeting with the media this afternoon. The sanctions are, I'm not exactly clear. It involved Cade McNamara, who transferred to Iowa from Michigan.
Yep, and then it also involved the kid, the offensive tackle, who went back to Alabama.
Okay.
About illegal contacting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is what we're going to get into. If you're going to get in trouble for that, how do you know a kid's in the transfer portal?
Well,
right?
So, yes. And the 1-game suspension for Illinois, I mean, this is like, and I don't know for sure if this was the NCAA or just the school, because if it is the NCAA, and I don't know that it is, but if it is, it feels like it's just, hey, we're still relevant kind of here, is what it feels like. Now, maybe it's the school saying, dude, you can't do that. Like, we have to, I don't know. I'm sure we're getting that answer.
I'm sure if it was Illinois and not Illinois State, there wouldn't be a suspension from the school. Well, it just goes back.
I suspect that is correct.
Decades, Bobby Bowden in Florida State, they would have their opening game of the year was always a patsy, because the guys would get in trouble throughout the year, and he would suspend them for their first game. So they'd miss that Alabama
Take your punishment.
Exactly. You're suspended for that Louisiana Lafayette game, but you're going to be ready for that Miami game. I promise you that.
Yeah, it is amazing the way that seems to pretty consistently work out over the years, regardless of the school, regardless of the coach, regardless of the transgression, and certainly exceptions in there, depending on the level of the transgression, the coach, and the player, and all of it. But boy, more often than not, it does seem like, yes, it'll even be a 2-game suspension. You're going to miss both of those games against MAC opponents.
We're going to get suspended for the first half of both games.
All right, yeah. So
it is this again, the one we're waiting on is the Michigan thing, and we've been waiting on this for now. They've been dangling this carrot that they're going to get in trouble. What is, honest to God, your honest feel of what's going to happen to Michigan?
Not much of anything.
You think?
I do.
I have feelings, and I think that a feeling, not feelings. I have feelings, Jeff.
Oh, that's good. Good to know you're a modern guy.
They gave Harbaugh a show cause for the hamburger thing. You know what I mean? So they set precedents right there that, okay, you knew you were already in trouble, and then you continued to do it. I think Harbaugh is going to get absolutely lambasted to the point where he's never going to coach in college football again. And you know who's that's going to affect? Not one freaking person.
Yeah, nobody at all. And
that's the issue, the biggest issue. And I'll go back to what we said from the start: is everybody steals signs, not the way that they were doing it. They were using technology. They were Houston Astros type of stuff.
It was a little over the top.
Going out
a little over the top.
Everybody and their mother knows it's illegal to go scout a game live in person, and they did it 58 times. Like, okay, that's crazy. And I go back to what you and I sit there and say, well, they still had to win against Penn State. They still had to beat Ohio State. They still had to beat Alabama, and they still had to beat. But
it's the building up into relevance that
that it was him being. That 2020 season when they canceled the season because their teams were sick and they didn't want to play anymore because they were going to get smoked by Ohio State. That they were cheating then, or that's when they decided to start the cheating thing. I mean, the numbers and everything, the timeline in all places when they were struggling and they went ahead and started doing this, that they got really, really good. But again, they still had to win those last 5 games. I get it. I understand it. You got to respect that. But how they got to that point, not the whole season, but I'm saying, like Craig Booch said, the 3 or 4 years before when they were doing it, when they were winning games that they normally would have lost because had they not been cheating, would they have won? And then you're not going to get the 5-star recruits when you're 6-5, 5-7, or 5-7, or 8-4.
Seems unlikely.
Correct.
For sure.
That is a big, big thing in my head, and that's a big head. I have feelings and a large head, Jeff.
You got it all,
Two
baby.
things
you
that
got
you did
it
not
all.
know about me. I am ready. Are you going to do any high school games?
We will have Center County Red Zone tomorrow night once again and throughout the season. So we'll bounce from game to game throughout Center County.
I think it's the best thing you guys did, man.
Coverage.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Tomorrow night. Yeah, we got good feedback and excited to get it underway. All of the Center County teams, interestingly, are on the road here for the opening weekend. Bald Eagle area will open up on Saturday night, by the way, so we won't have Bald Eagle area as part of our coverage Friday. But all 4 teams that are in action Friday are on the road. Bald Eagle area is on the road, too, just on Saturday night. And then all 5 county teams are home and will have their home openers next Friday. Ahead of
I thought, honest to God, I thought that they didn't go head to head with Penn State.
Penn State's trip to West Virginia.
Oh, that is next week. What about the first home? They normally don't have home games when Penn State has a home game, right?
No, okay, that is not correct. But they have.
So they do?
Oh yeah.
Oh, how's that for parking when there's a big football weekend?
It's a challenge.
Oh man, I can't imagine.
But yeah, no, they have it. They don't. It doesn't correspond. I mean, there's some Friday nights where it's a home football weekend and State High's home.
Okay,
as well.
Huh.
They'll be home next week with Altoona, but the Nets will be on the road. But yeah, it's a weird schedule this year for State College in that they just have one home game in the first half of the season and then just one road game in the second half of the season. So for the first 5 on the road, for the last 5 at Memorial Field. So
yeah, you break our schedule down
the way that
one October home game.
Yeah,
I don't think that's ever happened here. I really don't.
I don't know if it ever has, but it is certainly not common. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Let's take a break here. We've got a couple of things I want to get into with just how things could go in the upcoming season and how some things will be determined in the upcoming season regarding the conference championship games. And I am absolutely convinced that this will be the last year that we will have conference championship games in big-time college football. But we'll talk about that when we come back. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are coming to you live from Quaker Steak and Lube.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
The State College Spikes are hitting the field all summer long. Enjoy fun, affordable family entertainment as the future of baseball is on display in Happy Valley. Spikes games have something for everyone at the new look Medler Field at Leblano Park. From great giveaways to fantastic deals, from special appearances to plenty of fireworks, all the way through September 3rd. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or get the schedule and buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Haw-Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Haw-Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Haw-Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
And we welcome you back in here on a very autumn-like Thursday afternoon here in the Valley of Happiness, getting us in the mood for football season, which gets underway. High school tomorrow night. Again, college 4 games on Saturday, highlighted by Georgia Tech and Florida State over in Ireland. That'll get everything underway in a noon kickoff. And it'll wrap up on Saturday with Delaware State making the trip to Hawaii.
We don't know, Jeff. We don't know about
well,
that.
if they can get there.
Did you see that?
And if they're permitted to have the game.
I absolutely was laughing. I mean, how do you miss? I mean, easy. There's an easy answer to that. They weren't there, but they missed their flight from Philadelphia to Hawaii. That was, Tuesday, I believe? Yeah. So they don't know. They got to play Saturday night at midnight, right? Or is it Friday?
It's kickoff time at Saturday. Kickoff is listed as 11:59.
But it is
Eastern
Saturday.
time.
Okay, because that's
not
always
midnight.
Yeah, but have you ever looked at your schedule on your phone? And I'm like, oh, there's a game on Sunday. Nope, that's last night. It's a midnight game and stuff like that. So, will you watch that game?
No.
That's
I will not be
a little late.
I will not
Would
be
you
awake.
watch that game if it was 7
I don't
o'clock
even
at night?
know. Do we get it? I don't even know what the coverage is of that one.
Would you?
I haven't even looked into it.
I said to you in the past, and that is, I can watch any level of football.
Oh, if I'm awake, I mean, I'll check it out.
I will, honest to God, I will like this.
I think it's very unlikely I'll be
My
awake.
wife will
I
come
usually
home
don't
and
wake up
say-
until 3. Or thereabouts.
You get up at 3 o'clock in the morning still?
I usually
Still that ingrained?
Well, no, just to use the restroom. Usually sometime between 3 and 3:30.
Really?
Yep.
I
Pretty
usually go
consistently.
between about 12 and 12:30,
There you
1
go.
and 1:30, 2 and 2:30, 3 and 3:30, 4 and 4:30.
Understood.
But I will sit there and watch this Michigan-Iowa game from 1985, knowing that Iowa wins this game. But I will still sit here and watch that.
Oh, sure. It's on, and it's football.
And
course
even though
you
I don't know the whole result, I know that Iowa wins this game, obviously, because they wouldn't be showing it on Iowa Day.
What?
But it is pretty damn awesome. I mean, that's the 85 team that they played Penn State out there, remember? You were probably working a little bit then, 84, 85.
I wasn't.
You weren't in school yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Still in high school.
Chuck Long was a damn good quarterback, man.
He was
very
a very
good
good quarterback.
Yep. And then Michigan just being Michigan forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So go back to Michigan? Do you think they're just going to get a little slap on the wrist type of thing from the NCAA? What do you think?
I don't think, yes, at the end of the day, in part because I think the NCAA has come around to realizing that punishing the future players and people that had nothing to do with it
Correct.
not really all that effective of a deterrent to folks. And I don't know what the answer is there. I think we've talked about this before, but it has never made sense to me going all the way back to the 80s. It's, why are you punishing people who are coming into the program and who are replacing the people who caused the problems? And I understand the program control and all of that to an extent if it's an AD and there's a culture problem. And in some of these cases, I think there clearly is. But you're still not punishing the right people. And one of the problems is, well, okay, how do you punish the right people? And I don't know that you can. And the worst of all of the penalties, in my opinion, meaning that the dumbest way to handle the penalties, is the whole changing the outcomes of games that were already played. No, we know that everybody thought you saw this team win, but we've discovered that the other team or that team was cheating, and so we just are going to award this team the win. Well, everybody that was there has the memory that they have, and it's just idiotic to me. You want to put asterisks, you want to say, listen, that whole season they were cheating. I'm fine with that, but to pretend that the results aren't what the results were is silly, and to me, and the argument against that, against my argument is, well, we strip Olympic athletes all the time. If we find out you're cheating, you lose the gold medal. But you're losing the accomplishment. You're not changing. I guess actually you are. I was going to say you're not really changing the result of the race, but you are, because you're taking away the accomplishment that is awarded. I don't know. So I don't. I just don't think it's. I don't think it's meaningful. I think they think it's very meaningful. Again, everybody knows, if you were there, who won that game that day.
Mm-hmm. And they're not going to go back. I say this. They're not going to go back there and say, you know what, 108 of you guys got national championship rings. Give them back. They're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. They're going to put an asterisk by the Michigan national championship, but they're not going to change that, or they may strip them of a national title. That's fine. But I'm sorry, but they did the same thing to the Fab Five out in Ann Arbor. All they did was take the flag down, and they can't say that they were in the Final Four. But ask me who was in the Final Four in 1990 and 1991, or 91 and 92. Yes, the Fab Five were in the Final Four those 2 years. Nothing's going to change. You're right.
Yeah.
On paper, it'll change. And then, amongst your friends and all of us, we could all sit there and say it, but they still went out and won it. I don't know. I think it's being set up right now where a couple guys are going to take the absolute brunt of it. One of them being Jim Harbaugh, and him being Mr. Michigan man. I think he's going to have a lifetime ban from college because he was there for, 8 years, and he had how many violations? And then there's people coming out now who are saying that, he would tell them to get up, put your foot on that line and cross it. Do whatever you got to do to get these guys here. And, again, are we going to punish the guys that are on the team right now for something that Jimmy Harbaugh was doing? I think they're setting Sharon Moore up a little bit right now for the guy who's head coaching right now, but they're, his deleted texts and stuff like that. I don't want to go down the politics route, but how our media is with the politics where they're very one-sided depending on who. But let's not kid ourselves. A lot of the national sports media are from Michigan and or Syracuse and Northwestern. So they're not going to sit there and absolutely downplay and bash Michigan. It's just not going to happen. When you know as well as I do, what they were doing was completely out of control cheating. Like a ridiculous amount of cheating. Like, I can't believe that they even like.
So one of the things
I hate it. Watching that kid on the sidelines, the Stallions, and then making the defensive calls, and then when they have the ball, he's with the offensive coordinator, and when the defense has the ball, he's with the D coordinator. No other person in this country has a position like that. That's how I am.
Yeah, one of the things that matters to me, and sometimes it is probably impossible to determine, but where you know it, and to me, you know it here. The evidence to me here is overwhelming on the intent. And for me, it's not even as much about the degree of the transgression, although certainly that weighs into it. And listen, do I think at the end of the day that this is the greatest transgression or as bad of a thing as anybody could do to cheat to win a football game? No, I don't. But the clear intent to willingly, knowingly, and very repeatedly break the rules that everybody else or most everybody else is abiding by, that to me does matter. Mm-hmm. The who was the well, it doesn't matter. The one was it the tennis player. I don't follow tennis closely enough anymore, but the number one ranked player who had steroids in your system. You're not supposed to have steroids, but they did trace it back. And everybody seems very convinced now that it was a spray-on thing because it was very trace amounts. And everything I've read, it seems like everybody is in agreement. No, this is what happened. There was no intent. He was not intending to put. To me, that matters. The a golfer who inadvertently writes down the wrong score, that's another whole discussion we could have sometime. But obviously, they weren't trying to cheat the game. You kick the ball over while nobody's. Well, that's a clear intent. Correct. That to me matters. Whether or not you're trying to gain the system.
Pounding a trash can when pitches are coming in the Major League Baseball, that's cheating. Wearing a device where it vibrates when you know what pitch is coming, that is cheating.
Yeah.
And I put that in the same breath as what Michigan was doing.
Yeah. So, again, do I think this is awful and, absolutely devastating consequences, but this form of cheating?
My personal opinion,
no, but the intent was so clear here to me.
Yep.
And they clearly got an advantage. I guess it's debatable. You listen to different people. And by the way, people in the game will say different things. It's like, this really doesn't matter. And there are others that were like, no, of course it matters. If you know when this guy, and we had many instances where people have come out and said, man, it was like they knew exactly what we were running. Well, they knew exactly what you were running. Well, that is a pretty substantial advantage when you look back on it. So,
as a former player, I find it disgusting, personally.
Yeah. And so the problem is, to me, how do you punish the right people? And I don't think you can. Now, Moore can be punished, and that's fine. Yep. If he would, and I think the deleted texts to me are pretty clear, clear and compelling that, yep, he was doing stuff that he knew he shouldn't be doing, or was involved at least in helping to cover up what others were doing or whatever. But Harbaugh, I mean, how do you punish him now? Yeah, you don't.
No,
you can't.
Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll left USC in the same way, in the same boat. Like, I mean, the guy who got punished was Reggie Bush.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They took he was the one who got shamed. They took his Heisman away for a violation now, which is legal now. So put that in perspective. But in my opinion, it's so clear what they were doing. And just think about this. When they played Texas Christian in the playoff game 2 years ago.
Yep.
And they got a 45 biscuit hand laid on them. Guess who they didn't scout that year? Guess whose calls they didn't have? Guess what they didn't know what was coming. That's insane to think about. I go back to when they talked about the Tennessee versus South Carolina game earlier in the year, where with Tennessee losing that game, Michigan stepped up a little bit,
Yeah.
But to sit there and have 58 games scouted, putting a person in the stands, recording 58 times.
Well, and having the discuss, I mean,
well, the Central Michigan thing is still completely. But no one talked about that. They fired their offensive coordinator the first day at camp. Gee, I wonder if it had anything to do with him being Connor Stalions' buddy.
Yep.
But again, why are we going? Why is the NCAA all about the punishing of these guys right now from last year's team? By the way, there's about 30 seniors on that team who are no longer even part of the program. Who we're not going to pay any kind of. They're not going to be suspended. They're not going to be in trouble whatsoever.
Correct.
It's the guys who got left behind. It's absolutely mind-boggling. If you can look at it and see the timeline of when they started winning, why they were doing what they did, because they were not winning games. And lo and behold, they start doing this. And, hey, we're winning games. It's a lot easier when you know. I go back. I'm an Eagles fan. You know that. I know
I've heard rumors about that.
Brian Dawkins is furious about the New England Patriots when they got caught for Cheatgate. And he says when they played them in the 2005 Super Bowl, he goes, even after the game, he was interviewed after the game, and he was just like downtrodden. He was just like, man, every time we blitzed right, they screened to the left. Every time we blitzed to the left, they screened to the right. It's almost like they knew what was coming. Lo and behold, 2 years later, there's all kinds of reports of them filming Super Bowl practices, and you can't tell me that was the one time that they did it, and they got caught that day.
Correct.
But you're going to tell me that was the only time they ever did it? Get out of here.
Yeah.
As an athlete, as a competitor, as an NCAA football player, I hate cheating that way. It's just for an unfair advantage. As a competitor, it puts a pit in my stomach how it just makes me so mad. It's like you took stuff away from other people for your selfish gain.
No question about it.
It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal, and nothing's going to happen. I mean, I personally think that Harbaugh will get maybe even a lifetime ban from the NCAA. By the way, how about Michigan backtracking on the honoring him as the honorary coach? They were going to have him be the honorary captain for the first game of the season, which is okay. I understand you're putting a flag up in your barn, so you're gonna want him back there. He's not coaching that day, but you know what? You're under NCAA investigation specifically for that coach, and it's coming out that guys are going to get suspended this and that, and then you invite that coach to be the honorary captain of the day. It's just thumbing your nose at the NCAA, saying there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do, NCAA. And I think the NCAA should come down and lay the hammer down, but they're never going to do it.
No, but again, you're laying the hammer down on the only options you have at this point are to lay the hammer down on people that largely didn't have. There's a few folks there that, yes, you can lay the hammer down on properly, but a lot to truly lay the hammer down, you're affecting more people that had nothing to do with it than you are the people who actually did the transgressions. So I don't know. I did want to get into, so the SEC has released its how they are going to handle if there is a tie to get to the SEC championship game. And again, I think we only have 1 year to worry about this. I don't think the Big Ten has come out with their tie-breaking procedures yet. Yeah.
I did not read anything about it, but I have a pretty good idea what's going to happen. If there's a tie, no matter who it is, Alabama gets to go to the final.
Alabama and Georgia.
No matter who's tied.
Yes, if Tennessee and Ole Miss finish in a tie for first, the SEC bylaws have Alabama and Georgia will meet for the championship game.
Correct.
What they have as the tiebreaker order: 1, head-to-head matchups between the teams. Makes sense. 2, record versus all-common conference opponents among the tied teams.
Okay.
That makes sense. Record against the highest placed common conference opponent in the conference standings. So if you're tied for first and you both played the 4th place team, that matchup would be the next thing that they look at. And your record against those common opponents as you work your way down. So if one of you lost to the 4th place team and the other one,
I'm waiting for the punchline here.
That's not even, no, that's not a punchline. Fourth is the cumulative conference winning percentage of all conference opponents among the tied teams. So this makes sense as far as it goes, but it really ends up being the luck of the draw. You have so the schools traditionally and still currently, historically, schedule the non-conference opponents. Now, even there, it is a bit of the luck of the draw. If you schedule, because most of these schedules are 6 to 10 years in advance.
Sure.
So you could be scheduling a team thinking, man, this is going to be a marquee matchup. And then they get hammered with sanctions. They make a coaching change. Their coach leaves for the NFL. Next coach in. So that there's some degree of luck, good or bad, either way. And sometimes you're trying to schedule a cupcake, and oh man, we got a hotshot coach who's doing wonders with this program, and we're hitting them at the exact wrong time as their quarterback makes his way to his senior year, and they have this veteran team, et cetera, et cetera. So it can work either way. But even more so in the conference, you have no control. Penn State has zero to do with their conference schedule. James Franklin didn't sit there and say, hey, Michigan and Oregon, we want them off the schedule here in 2024. Let's get Ohio State as the home game. No, that's not the way that works. So that is completely out of the school's hands. Again, you got to figure out a way to break it, and strength of schedule in the conference is not an unreasonable way to do it, but it really is just the luck of the draw and what the conference powers deemed your schedule should be and how your opponents therefore played throughout the rest of the season. So again, I'm not even making the argument that it shouldn't be used. It's just that is completely out of the hands of either of the schools that are involved. Next is capped relative scoring margin versus all conference opponents among the tied teams. So common opponents, your overall cumulative margin of victory.
Jeez.
If all of that, so that's 5 criteria that they have, and it seems unlikely that you'd get all through all 5. The first 2, I think it's going to be pretty common that you still don't have anything settled. I think it's somewhat unlikely that you get through the third, record against highest placed common conference opponents, although certainly possibly you can get through the first 3 and still have a tie. When you get to the cumulative conference winning percentage of all conference opponents among the tied teams and then the scoring margin, it is unlikely, very unlikely, that you're still going to have a true tie. But if we get to that point, then we do the ever popular heads or tails,
coin flip,
designated
nice.
Georgia one side, Alabama the other, and that is how you determine.
Tennessee
or I guess it's technically just it's a random draw of the tied teams. That's cool. The same thing. You reach in, you pick out one of the names.
What if
it's
there's
a coin
3
flip.
teams?
So. Yeah, well, there is they do have criteria for that, and it's much the same thing. So you're still going to have the head-to-head competition. In fact, I guess it will be the same thing. It'll be, except you'll take the top 2 then through those criteria.
Go ahead.
And at the end of the day, you may be drawing in 3 teams tied.
3 teams
the 2
tied.
that you pick
they
out
all played each other. They went 1-1.
Oh, that's a good question. Actually,
they went 1-1.
This must be specified, but is it the first 2 teams you pick out play, or is it the first team you pick out is the odd man out?
Go ahead.
You got to draw it. I'm sure that is what I have here doesn't specify.
If I remember,
that would have to be specified ahead of time.
Wasn't Friday Night Lights the three team tie, and they threw the coin, and you remember that
3-way
that
coin
part of the movie or no?
I remember the movie.
Yeah. They had that, and then one guy was like, they all thought that Permia was out, and the one guy was like, no, that's an old quarter. That's and then he's like, whoa, and then bang. They were the odd man out, so then Permia got to go play in the state playoffs.
There you go.
Well, the old coin toss is the way to do it.
That is the way to do it.
But only if Alabama plays Georgia. No one else is allowed in the play.
That's exactly right.
I mean, there could be a 4-way tie in the Big East, in the the SEC, and the Big Ten. I mean, there could be, 3 or 4 teams with one loss. I'd be interested to see what's going to happen. Well, in the Big Ten's version, Michigan goes no matter what. I mean, it's all about who's going to play Michigan in the final. They got to find one team. That's it. Because Michigan's already going to be in the Big Ten title.
There you go.
Has to be.
Our buddy Horace checks in 1 week until fantasy football draft day. Help your partner out, Goon.
He doesn't listen to me, Horace. You know that. You've watched this show. He doesn't listen to me.
I think I have actually been available, and I don't know if I'll be available next week or not. I haven't. I'm trying to get through the next 2 days. I think I have actually participated in the draft once.
Oh,
usually we do just because of my schedules. Well, I think it was two years ago that I actually got to
big time.
Oh,
no time for you, Horace.
Yeah.
No time.
We'll see. I might.
But you got time to get shamed every year for being in last place. Jeff, you need to change the routine.
Yeah.
Break the routine. You know what the coolest thing about
That's
my
your
wife
advice.
is?
Break the routine.
The coolest thing about my wife?
What's that?
She's been in my fantasy league for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
She's won it twice.
There you go. That's
and everybody accuses me running her team and when we make trades and this and that, and absolutely no. It's actually the running joke that she actually knows her stuff. You know when I knew I was going to marry her, Headley?
When's that?
Colts Super Bowl when they lost to the Saints.
Okay.
And Peyton Manning just kept on dumping the ball off. It was like because they were blitzing and he was just checking down, just dumping the ball. And my wife looked at me, who was my girlfriend at the time, and she says, they got to force the ball downfield or they're just going to sit there and play rinky-dink ball all day. And I was like, and then I popped the ring out of my pocket right down in there.
Then they'll look like the 2024 Steelers for crying out loud going, and nobody wants to.
We are 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks from the NFL. You're right. I know you're high on them again.
On who?
The Steelers, and I don't know if their defense is as good as you think it is.
I think the defense is very good. I think the offense is awful, and I think they're in for a very long season because of it.
And you know that they're not going to get rid of Tomlin. They signed him that 3-year contract extension.
Yeah.
They're not going to pay 2 coaches. That's not in their – he can go 0-16 next year, and he's still going to be the coach, I think, in 2 years. What are your thought about that?
They got to get a quarterback. I mean, and that's – every team needs to do it, and there's just not a lot of them around. And again, I don't have any problem with what the Steelers did here. With you have to try to fill the void, but you just need a quarterback that to be successful, and they don't have it, and they're not. I think it's almost impossible to be successful, and especially when you're in a division that has Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson as 2 of the opposing quarterbacks, and then you look at Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. It's a lot to overcome if you're the Steelers. I think their defense is fantastic, but I think they're in for a pretty rough season.
Very interesting. I don't see it. I don't feel that, but that's you.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to go to break, we can go to break, but we can talk about it. But like, when was Roethlisberger drafted? Was he like a top 10 or was he like the top 20?
He was top 20.
He was in the top 20. So he was later in the round, right?
Yeah. I want to say he might have been 11.
And then what did they pick? Kenny Pickett again? I mean, that's the problem with not having a bad season and having winning seasons or non-losing seasons.
Yeah,
so many times in a row is I
don't mind the Pickett pick either. Again, you have to try to find your quarterback, and even if you have to reach there. I mean, there wasn't. With either Pickett or with the Wilson and field situation, I mean, people are criticizing. Well, what was the better option? What was the better available option in either case? again, you can't go out and get Patrick Mahomes, kids. Like, that would be awesome.
If he was a Guardian, maybe they would. They
and listen, I mean, the Jets went and made their big move and brought Rodgers in, and we'll see how it works out this year. But
they had
not
exactly,
not exactly what they were envisioning last year. But again, I don't think anybody faults the Jets. You have to do what you can to get the quarterback situation resolved, but there's only.
But their MO is not going to go. They're not going to go and trade up into the. That's not what they do. They've never done that.
Even if,
but they still got to find somebody at that level.
Yeah, and even if that was their MO, that doesn't assure you anything.
No.
If you moved up to the top 10
and pick Justin Fields,
I mean, I don't think any of those guys in this year's draft are. And I think very rarely, if ever, is there such a thing as a surefire quarterback that you draft. Yeah, I mean, obviously getting Patrick Mahomes now looks great for the Chiefs. Well, there are a lot of people that were passing him over, and the long list of first round number one busts, guys that ended up being very successful, drafted later. And as we've talked about, it's not always just about the quarterback himself. It's about, is it the right system? Is he coming in at the right time with the right coach, the right scheme? All of that, it needs to fit together to have it work. And Ben was not the starter day one. Tommy Maddox it was a nice, it was a great situation. Well, after Maddox got hurt. Yeah.
So what, 7-8 games in?
I think it was about that.
And when's the last time you saw a super, super successful quarterback who started from day one? One of those rookie guys who started from day one. It's not very common, man.
It's getting more. I will say it's more common now than it was. You have more guys that are NFL ready, if you will, coming out of college. You have more guys that are college ready coming out of high school, so that makes sense as far as it goes. But
I don't remember. Mahomes wasn't a day one starter. He wasn't a first round pick.
No,
he wasn't a first round pick. So
yeah. Again, it is getting everything to line up. Yep, you have to be a big time talent, and the elite talent. I think always, or at least usually, works its way to the top. But I'm not even sure. I think that's even debatable because you can have elite talent, and if you're in an awful organization and you don't have a good coach and you have a horrible offensive line, there's only so much you can do. And if you get beat down by that over the course of 3 or 4 years, that can take a toll on you as well. And maybe you're not able to use that talent to the degree,
and I don't think
you would be if you were in the right situation.
College football is not helping the NFL out with quarterback. I'm not saying creating quarterbacks, but training quarterbacks for the NFL, because it's not the historical NFL drop back quarterback, because they're nearly not around anymore. Josh Allen was the last real stand-up pocket guy, but he's more mobile than he is pocket passer, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The game has changed, and you've heard me say it. I mean, we've been doing a show like, 4 years now, almost 5? So we're sitting here saying, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, and that is that the college football has changed because high school football has changed. When you and I were growing up, your best athlete was your running back. And then about the mid-90s, it turned into, hey, why do we not have our best athlete playing quarterback and touching the ball every play? So it went from the best athlete being your running back to now your best athlete is your quarterback. And your quarterback, he's going to drop back. He's going to throw the ball, or most likely he's the best athlete, so he could be a good running guy. So Michael Robinson, Darrell Clark did it here. It's like if they had that run option to them. We're not producing those guys in college football anymore. Those high school kids are now college kids, and those college kids now are in the NFL, and we're not teaching them how to be NFL quarterbacks. We're teaching them how to win at the collegiate level, which is what you're trying to do. I get it, but we're not producing great NFL quarterbacks right now. I mean, there's a guy like Patrick Mahomes can drop down a couple rounds and not be an overall number one overall pick type of thing, and he's the best quarterback in the league. May go down as one of the best ever.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
It's crazy.
He's on that trajectory for sure to rival maybe even Brady.
These guys who are top 10 or top 15 picks, the pressure on those guys early in their careers is it's burdening to them. It's horrible. Like, you know, we're looking at Fields up there. You know, there's a guy who goes to Chicago, just never had a shot there. Never did. He just didn't have the players, didn't have the offensive line, and he just got beat on. And he just lost all his confidence. It's like he doesn't even want to play anymore, hardly. But I know we're
now he moves to an organization that also doesn't have an offensive line, nicely done. We'll take a timeout here. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, and you're listening to us on WFXS, Pleasant Gap State College.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
The State College Spikes are hitting the field all summer long. Enjoy fun, affordable family entertainment as the future of baseball is on display in Happy Valley. Spike teams have something for everyone at the new-look Medler Field at Leblano Park. From great giveaways to fantastic deals, from special appearances to plenty of fireworks, all the way through September 3rd. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or get the schedule and buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Haw-Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Haw-Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Haw-Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
And we welcome you back in here on this Thursday afternoon as we get ready for football season. Again, Center County Red Zone returns to the airwaves tomorrow night, 7 to 10. We'll take you around the county and go from game to game with the 4 Center County games tomorrow night against State College, Bellefonte, Phillipsburg, Osceola, and Penns Valley. All in action tomorrow. We'll also keep you up to date and with other scores from around the region and the state for that matter, but we'll keep a closer eye on some of the games in nearby counties. And then Bald Eagle area opens up on Saturday night. The college football season begins with a 4-game schedule on Saturday. And kicking things off will be Georgia Tech and 10th ranked Florida State from Ireland in a noon kickoff.
The long wait is over.
Eastern time. And then, of course, Penn State begins its season a week from Saturday at West Virginia. We have gone this far into the show without talking about the news in the sports world, dear Goon. Dancing with the Stars returns for season 33. Do you know who is...
Hold on. That's really been here for 33 years?
33.
There's no way.
Years.
Dancing with the Stars was around when I
was... 33rd season. Do they have more than one season in a year?
There's no way Dancing with the Stars was on when I was in college.
It's the 33rd season.
I would have been on
it. It's the 33rd season. Maybe they do too. I have no idea how that works anymore. Do you know who is?
I would look like Ray Gun from Australia doing the breakdance.
Oh yeah, that I could see that. Poor Ray Gun. Did you see who is on the 33rd season?
No, I did not.
Dancing with the Stars.
I can't wait to hear.
You are. You actually are.
Is it going to make me mad? Is
no,
Jim Harbaugh?
No,
Jim
you are
Harbaugh
going to be.
On?
I guarantee you, when I tell you, you're going to be like, "Oh, dude, I'm locked in. I will be watching."
I would say
every
Antonio
episode.
Brown, but he's been cancel cultured so bad by now. So no, he's out.
Nope.
Big Ben.
Closer to home. Nope.
Closer to home. Brian Allen.
3 words for you. Pommel horse guy. Steven Netarosik is
really
going to be on Dancing with the Stars. I am telling you, this is going to be. Oh, but this is perfect for him. It is.
Do you know him?
It is. No, I don't know him. I am working to get him on either our morning show or on with us. If somehow we can.
I mean, I'm going to look so small.
We can get him if we can get the logistics worked out. But that show, so it's a challenge. Obviously, it's great for his. I mean, he is cashing in as he should do. It's so cool that he has this opportunity. But I think this is the perfect venue for him because you're cashing in on that popularity. That show is very much about. I know it's the judges and they're going to critique the dancing, but he is such an easy guy to root for and such a wonderful personality. I think he is going to take the country by storm round 2. He did it at the Olympic Games, came through with the clutch performance when his team needed him. And I just think this is going to be fun. And I think it's going to be really, really cool for him. And I think it'll bring in a lot of eyeballs to Dancing with the Stars. I think he is a draw because of the fame that he got with that event.
You hear what we're talking about, Rachel?
Oh, I'm telling you, there's going to be more people who have never watched or haven't watched in a very long time that will tune in. Certainly from Penn State.
Let's have some watch parties around over at the Lube.
Let's do it. We have to do it. But yeah, Steven Netarosik is going to be on the 33rd season of Dancing with the Stars. I think it premieres in a couple of weeks.
Is he still in school or is he graduate?
No, he graduated back in, 20?
I have.
Oh my gosh,
we're going
2019,
down
2020.
Goon memory here.
Yeah.
So back in the day, we had a house that we considered the football house, which is no longer in town. It's now called the Bryce Jordan Tower. That and then down by PA Pizza, where remember right on that bend right there's an electrical power, but there's one house back behind there.
We call that formerly known as Hooters in my circle.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, I know where you're talking.
What if I bring John Henry's at you? PA Pizza and John Henry.
Yes, indeed.
So there's one house on that street right there, and that right on that bend right there.
Yeah,
that was the men's gymnastics house. So it's about, a quarter mile from where we were living and stuff like that. So we had the football house and the men's gymnastics house.
Yep.
And we partied at their house or they partied at our house every weekend. Now, just imagine driving by in the summertime. So it's a bunch of college dudes. So we're all sitting outside playing horseshoes, no shirts on. And we're sitting there, and you have the offensive line throwing horseshoes against the men's gymnastics team. You're going like 22% body fat versus like 2.2% body fat.
Yep.
They're all about they're literally the size of my cell phone, and it was just funny as heck because we were all these big 6'7", 6'8", 320-pound dudes, and then you had these little guys who were just completely shredded in muscles and this and that, and we were all the best of friends.
No, that's cool.
You know why we were good friends? Because they would invite the women's gymnastics team that were
there. You go. There you go.
There you go. There's ulterior motives to hanging out with other dudes.
Always ulterior motives.
There you go. So you're going to make – I can't. I will not watch Dance with the Stars. I'm sorry. I will watch the highlights. I will wait.
You've got to be kidding me. Hold horse guy.
How many –
dude,
how does it
are
work?
You not a Penn Stater?
Have you watched it before?
Are you not
Does he
a Penn
dance
Stater?
every night?
Yeah.
So like,
every night is until he
how many people
unless he gets eliminated.
Like 10 people?
I think that's about right at
so
the
you have
start.
10 people dancing a week, and then one gets kicked out
each week. Yeah, Hines Ward won it the 1 year. I watched that
Emmett Smith
year.
was there. Ocho Cinco was
Erin
there.
Andrews. I think she won it and then became she was hosting it for doing the stage hosting for a while.
I mean,
I watched a couple of seasons. Hines and Aaron drew me in. Trying to think if I've watched. I mean, I've watched it here or there. I'm locked in. I am going to watch Pommel Horse Guy, Steven Netarasic, because
I just call him the Pommel Horse Guy. That's fine.
I am a true Penn Stater. True Penn Staters are going to be watching and rooting for Netarasic. I don't know what your deal is.
You text in your votes.
I think that's right.
So imagine if he gets the power of Penn State behind him.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. All right. I'm on board.
He should have the power of Penn State behind.
I'm going to call him Pommel Horse Guy because I don't think I can remember the name Netarasic.
Understood.
By the way, speaking of hard names to say, our offensive coordinator, Kodolnecki. I'm digging his coaching gear. I don't think I've seen sleeves on the guy.
No.
It's like construction worker. Like he just came off a roof, and now he's the offensive coordinator. And I mean, he's like Timberland's away from being a roofer in Philadelphia, coaching a football team. So, I'm telling you, I got a good feeling about this guy, man. I really do. I saw the article the other day where he laid 55 on West Virginia the last time he played them. So I'm not worried about that West Virginia game. I'm worried about the fans because the fans can be, but as long as our guys are ready to go, the horses should take over in that game and take care of that game.
Yes, I agree. That game, the scenario where West Virginia actually gets the outright victory is West Virginia comes out, gangbusters, builds momentum early, gets the initial lead, builds on it. But I have the turnover margin needing to be +2 for West Virginia for the Mountaineers to win it. I think if Penn State, which obviously every team, the goal is always to at least hold even. Well, the goal is always to win the turnover battle. Mm-hmm. And what was the one thing that, well, not the one thing, but probably the thing that Drew Aller did better than anything else, almost to the consternation of Penn State fans last year, but he did not turn the ball over. It is a point of emphasis with the running backs as well. Not saying it can't happen. There are teams that are really good at taking care of the ball very consistently who have that one game where, man, it's just a couple of deflections that get picked up and the ball pops out. I mean, it happens.
I know what you're
so you can never predict it. Like it always cracks me up. Well, this team's not going to turn the ball over. No, you don't. You know what the track record is. You know that the team is very good at it. We see fluky games where that happens, and it's you look back at the end of the season, it's like, well, that's inexplicable. That team never turned the ball over, and there they were in that one game. They had -3. It happens. It's goofy. But I think that is going into it, it feels to me that is the only scenario where West Virginia actually wins the game. They have to be +2 in the turnover margin, and that offense has to be lights out, because I do think Penn State, I'll be very disappointed if Penn State is not in the 30s at the least against this. And that's with the receiving core that I still have my severe doubts about. I really think that they have to be able to keep Trey Wallace healthy. I think another season for Wallace like last year, where he's out because of injury that much, is bordering on devastating for this offense. I think Wallace is the one guy that I think can be a consistent dynamic force. I think Liam Clifford can be a very consistent player, and I think they need a couple of other guys to step up and be, if not dynamic, love Caden Saunders to be consistently dynamic, because I think he brings a nice wrinkle if he can make, again, the routine plays consistently. And obviously Julian Fleming, you're hoping can maybe recapture what he was billed to be coming out of high school. But you would take James Franklin's word solid from him if you can get it from Fleming. If he can give that to you, I think you're fine with that.
I actually was surprised that Flem wasn't named one of the captains. I know he hasn't been here that long, but it just seems like when you look at the team and stuff like that, and you're around the team, that he's very much a leader.
That is what
I think that our guys are going to gravitate to him, because he's coming from Ohio State and he's coming from a winner. We're interested. What the hell are they doing over there?
Well,
what are we doing different than them?
Yeah, my read on that, and I'm not saying my read is accurate because I'm not up there at all.
Listen, you made a prediction 2 weeks ago and you won it.
But I don't. Well, I'll get to that in a second. But I don't think Fleming. What my read on that is that Fleming is not consistently catching the ball. I think he is a leader, but I think to be a captain, you also have to be a guy that's consistently doing what your position demands. And I don't have any insight on that, but the fact that we have not heard about how wonderfully consistent and, man, he just catches the ball, like, that's telling me that he's not doing that. And when Franklin was asked about the receivers, he said Clifford and Wallace were the two that were separating themselves from the rest of the group. And again, I don't think it's a lack of leadership presence and trying to do the right thing and setting the right example in terms of work ethic and all of that. My interpretation of that is that, we're just not getting the consistent play there that you'd like to have, and that I think this team's going to need to have, whether it's him or, but again, it can't be just Clifford. It can't just be the running backs, Warren, Clifford, and Wallace, that are your go-to play. You've got to have a couple of other receivers that can step up and, again, at least make the routine plays consistently. Way too many drop balls last year, and it crushed Penn State, and especially in the big games. And and Aller's got to take that next step and be able to perform under pressure and give the right body language if something doesn't go right early in a big game. All of that is part of it too, but the receivers have to be a big part of the equation here as well in the upcoming season. And that is the one area for me. And I know different people, linebacker is a concern for some. The fact that you have two captains there, let's start there. I think that bodes well for that position. And I think Cody King is going to have a monster year. I think Dom DeLuca is a leader and is a guy that makes plays for you. Obviously, Rojas has expectations that are going to be pretty hard to meet, truthfully, but I think he will. I just think he's that type of a talent. And I think they have some nice depth there. I think Tamir Robinson is a guy that is going to be could be a breakout star as the season progresses.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he has that type of talent. And I love the move of Nelson, Takari Nelson, from the safety to linebacker.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like we had the ability to move Abdul Carter from linebacker to defensive end, and you're not just going to do that if your linebacker core is soft.
No, so
you have to know that they're going to be replacing him with some studs.
Yeah, I really don't have any concerns anywhere on defense. And I know offensive line is a concern for a lot of fans as well.
At Penn State? No way.
Goon, I'm telling you, I don't think it is. I don't. With the depth that they have.
It's never been a problem here the last 35 years.
And, well, there wasn't a problem last year. And I know you lost 3 guys to the NFL. I am telling you, Goon, I'm not saying they're going to be across the board as good, but they have – Franklin talked about the 8-man rotation. I'm not sure that can't even go to 9 as the season progresses. And the other thing they have there is some versatility where they can withstand an injury or two, and I don't think have it be of much impact at all. Not saying, obviously, you want to keep everybody healthy, but I don't think there's a situation where it's like, oh my God, this guy went down. Now what do we do? I think they're solid there. And I think they have probably 3 guys there that are in backup roles, at least listed there, that are expected to get significant playing time that also could play either of a couple of spots on that line, whether, guard or tackle or center or guard in like, I think Cousins, if they needed him to play guard, would be able to do that effectively. I think Dawkins, more likely, correct.
Center,
But I think you have versatility there with those two, and then certainly JB Nelson. I think across the board they are. Javen Williams is another guy that can. They're in very good shape there. I think going into the season, the area that I think could hold this team back is wide receiver. And I think they're going to be put in position to make plays. I think they're going to be delivered the ball consistently enough to have it work out. But at the end of the day, they need to make the catches, occasionally make some difficult catches, but not drop the balls when the ball is delivered. And then, yes, you need to get some big plays off of it. I think Trey Wallace can certainly do that. Caden Saunders, I think, has that potential. And if that part of the team rounds into form by the time we get to October, I think everything else is in place there. I love both coordinators. I think this is
don't forget tight ends is a real strength of this team.
Well, and the other area for sure, and I think the other area that has not gotten a lot of attention, and I will say I'm still – so I think the punting game is going to be great. No concerns about Riley Thompson. The place kicking, I think, is a concern until you see. I know they have said all 3 kickers actually have been consistent in camp. Franklin talked the other day about they put him under all kinds of pressure, and I don't doubt that they have, and I'm not predicting disaster there at all. I think and hope that they are in really good shape, but you can't simulate in practice. I mean, you can do everything you can to simulate it, but those kicks that they're making when the coach is telling you, all right, we need this 45-yard kicker, we lose, you don't lose. Like, I get that they're simulating it. I get that they're putting the pressure on them. I get all of that. It's not the same as, oh, my gosh, all right, here we go. You need to make this kick or we actually lose the game here at USC.
You're better off losing a game because if that kicker misses in that pressure drill that Franklin has him doing, right, here's the deal. He misses that kick, they're going to condition. And the kicker's going to get his booty kicked in by the offensive line, the defensive line when they get into that locker room.
Yeah.
So there's actually more pressure on the kicker about getting his booty kicked than having to play in a game or win a game type of thing.
No,
by the way,
there's
you know what I used to do?
There's not. The fans aren't watching. The fans aren't on social media telling you what a bum you are.
Pummel you. Well, I guess they're not allowed to be bullies anymore. We can't be doing that anymore.
Not the same.
Can I give you a goon story when I coached?
Absolutely.
You love these stories. So, there's always all the pressure is on the kickers in those situations, and they're going to have conditioning, right? That's what we used to do. We used to threaten conditioning. Or if the kid makes the kick, then there's no conditioning. By the way, he's the hero of the world when he makes that kick. Trust me, with the offensive line.
Yeah.
So if he misses the kick, it's bad news for that kicker because the offensive line's going to beat the crap out of him. Now, we changed it around when I was coaching. We would make the offensive lineman have to field a kick from a jugs machine.
Ooh.
Do you know how hard that is to do? I don't know if you've ever caught a punt or a kick. It's not easy. It's like one of those things where you got to have a feel for it.
Yeah.
And there you go. He's on Sports Center.
There it is.
Pablo Horse guy is on Sports Center talking about Dancing with the Stars.
Competing on Dancing with the Stars. I love
it. Breakout. Did you think
September
that the breakout
17th
star
is the premiere
from the Olympics would be a Penn State male gymnast? Good for
love
him.
It.
No,
Absolutely
but we would pick usually one of the more non-svelte offensive linemen and put them about 50 yards out in the field and have the jugs machine simulate a punt where it's not easy. And you should see some guys struggle. And then 90% of the time they would be struggling. But that one time when they do make the catch, it is awesome. It is really fun. But, most of the time, they just like skied over their heads, and we had to do it again. And we had to, slow the jugs machine down a little bit. But it takes the pressure off the kicker in that situation. It puts it on the fat offensive lineman because the fat offensive lineman's been living off that kicker for a few years.
There
so
you
it's
go.
Just a little change of pace right there.
There you go.
But I'll tell you what, when you do see a big fatty catch one of those punts and they carry the fatty off the field, it's actually awesome. It is really funny having these little people carry one of the big mutants off the field. So it's full of stories today, Ironhead.
As long as we're not counting on the kickers to make the key block to spring somebody for the game-winning touchdown. We'll
Talking about kickers.
A break here. We're back with a final segment on this autumnal Thursday afternoon. How do you like that? As we get ready for football season here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We're at Quaker Steak and Lube, which, by the way, is a great place to be during football season. You get to watch all of the great action in these football games, and you can do so while enjoying great food, a revamped menu here. We've been trying some new items and loving them, and I am telling you, there is not a place in our area, I don't know that there's a place anywhere that has better service than what you will find here at Quaker Steak and Lube. We're back after this timeout.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
The State College Spikes are hitting the field all summer long. Enjoy fun, affordable family entertainment as the future of baseball is on display in Happy Valley. Spikes games have something for everyone at the new look Medler Field at LeBron Park. From great giveaways to fantastic deals, from special appearances to plenty of fireworks, all the way through September 3rd. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or get the schedule and buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Haw-Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Haw-Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Haw-Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
We welcome you back here for a final segment on this Thursday as we hurtle toward football season. And yeah, I will say the weather this week,
smile on my face right now,
has me ready.
College football.
Absolutely. Yep, can hardly wait. Even though it's not college football, it is. And during the games themselves, will, I think, at least for now, believe that it is college football. So
Florida State, Georgia Tech, I thought it would be a lesser game. It's only a 10-point spread.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll see whether
Florida
or not
State has been getting for the last last year.
No, I hear you.
And they have a little point to prove with not getting into the playoffs last year, if you recall. They were not happy about that, being undefeated, and then that could also play against them a little bit. They might be playing that card a little too much and not worried about this season, and Georgia Tech might jump them. I'm excited to watch the freaking game just because it's college football. But it should be a good game, too, at that. It's not going to be a complete blowout, at least not as of yet, but it very well could be.
Yeah, I wonder about that. We'll see.
Well,
I just
I can call my bookie right now if you want to make a prediction. Sorry, I can go on my book. I can text. I'm sorry, I can go on.
Do you want me to make my prediction so you can put your bet in there?
I will. I'm going to go against Ironhead 100% of the time this year. I need
make millions.
10.5 is the line. What do you say? What do you say, Ironhead? What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? Florida State minus 10.5. In Ireland, you got to take that into account.
So, yeah, I think Florida State is going to hammer them. Okay. I think Florida State is going to look to make a statement. They know they have the attention, obviously, of the entire college football world dialed in on this game. And I don't know how this is only a 10.5 point spread.
I'm not going to lie to you. I was a little surprised at that, too.
Go put your money on Georgia Tech because they'll probably win it outright.
Does Florida State have – is the quarterback back or no?
No, not the
star from last – I mean, I already forget the guys from last year. That's crazy to think about, but I have. CTE.
I wish I had that excuse.
Graduate, or is he still hurting from last season's injury?
That I don't know.
But they're breaking in. Is he back from the injury from last year, right? Quarterback? Okay, so he is back. He is playing? New quarterback? Okay. From Florida. Wow,
yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
How did we not know that?
Yeah.
Guy transfers from Florida to Florida State, and we're not talking about it? Jeez Louise. We got my boy Chris Heidrich in town. You know it's football season.
Yes,
Heidrich just moved back in from Florida for his 6-month tour of the north again, just in time for the fall weather. It's just getting nice in Florida right now, and you leave. My Lord.
Yeah.
Chris moved here last year for 6 months at a time. Looked at me last year when he made settlement on the house 2 years ago. He goes, I will never miss another home game the rest of my life. And I was like, damn, man, that's awesome. That's his dream. He worked his tail off to get to that point, and here we are.
Here we are,
I love it,
indeed.
baby. I love it. Welcome back, Chris.
Hopefully, indeed. Yeah, hopefully they can keep it rolling here. That it is going to be this whole season, as we've talked about. There's just so many fascinating storylines. One of which I do think, and not so much this year. I mean, I don't think fans are going anywhere this year. I am curious to see if the money involved now and the changes that have occurred, if that does start to impact the passion we see surrounding college football, the money that is involved, the money that is, that fans have to pay and have been having to pay for a while for the seat licensing fees and then the tickets themselves and the parking and now the NIL and now this and now that. And does all of that, it can impact in a couple of different ways. One is, and I think we're both of the same mindset, that the number of teams playing quote unquote big time college football is going to shrink. I'm not exactly sure whether it's going to be shrinking by a handful of teams, by about half of what we have right now, more or less. I don't have a great feel for that. But that obviously is going to have some impact too. If you're a lifelong, and I'm just picking a school at random, let's just Boston College. You're a lifelong Boston College fan, and Boston College now drops down to whatever this is going to become as a Division II type of, or not big time anyway. Well, if you're a fan of Boston College and you're an alumni or you've just always followed, that's your team. Now I got to find another team, and I'll go follow Penn State, or I'll go follow whoever, Notre Dame, or do you, I'm out on college football, big time college football. I'll follow my Boston College team at whatever level they're playing, and I'll lock in on the NFL. So, I mean, that could have an impact, but I just wonder if there is a point at which the average fan says, this is too much like the NFL, and I already have the NFL. I'm just going to go to the NFL. I don't know. The other thing that I think can have an impact here negatively, but I've thought this for a while, and it hasn't. If anything, it's been positive. But I still liked it when you had Friday night was high school football night.
I know.
Only high school football. Yep. Saturday was college football. Only college football. Sunday was the NFL and only the NFL. And then, hey, as a little extra bonus, there's a Monday night game for you. And then Tuesday through Thursday, you got ready for the next weekend.
I was cool with the Thursday night college football game because that was normally a big, big game. That's gone now. Those days are gone.
Yes. But even then, the disruption to the routine and the schedule, yes, from a fan's perspective, I suppose
I didn't mean to cut
probably
you off.
good. No, I think that's fair. But now we have this year we're going to have an NFL game on a Friday night. We're going to have
Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, Thursday night is competition between college football and the NFL. But you can't watch the NFL game on TV. Tuesday night we have college football. Now, I do think at some point, and I could be wrong on this because I've thought this for a while and it hasn't panned out. I do think there is such a thing as oversaturating the market and people saying, all right, this is too much. It was a good thing, good while it lasted. I'm out. Now, maybe they're not, maybe they're just out on Thursday night. Maybe they're not out at all. It feels like we're I don't like the idea of the NFL and college football competing against each other. And that's another component to this is there the possibility because I think there is, where down the road, the NFL and college football are competing not just for eyeballs on a given night, a Thursday night or a Saturday afternoon or whatever it may be, but for a player who it's like, I could go to the NFL and be, again, a 7th-round draft pick or a free agent, or I could stick around and sue to see if I can play a 5th or a 6th year, since I'm taking classes anyway.
Yep.
Haven't received my degree yet.
Correct.
Well, who are you to tell me that is coming? I mean, right, there's no doubt somebody's going to force that issue. And I don't know. I just don't have enough legal savvy. I have no idea if that is something where the courts will look and say, well, yeah, no, this is, you're saying that this is a college activity. This guy's still in college. You can't tell him he can't do. I don't know. Or is it? No, of course, the sport can set up the rule that says you have 5 years to. The other component there, though, is could they change and say, yeah, you know what? Now it's going to be you have 6 years for 5 years of eligibility.
If they declare that players are workers of the university, in what job world is it there? They say you only have 5 years. That's it. You got to do your job in 5 years, unless you're running for office or president, you know? But they can't tell you can't work here.
I don't know. I
right
really don't know
Jeff.
if they can or can't from a legal standpoint if it's pushed.
Well, let's talk about, speaking of, I want to go back to what you said about how people are going to be driven away from the game. And it came on after the show on Tuesday. I made mention it to you, and I'm just appalled by it. But Oklahoma State wearing the QR codes on their helmets where you can actually zoom in into the QR code and donate money to that player or the player's fund.
They are not going to be the only ones doing this.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Guarantee.
No doubt. But it's just going to drive more people away. I mean, people who are trying to hang on. Like, people are trying to hang on. Okay, I can deal with this. I'll be okay. I don't like from the start, and you know this from we both of us had that same feeling. Everything, the whole onus of NIL has been put onto the fans. And it's a shaming that goes on if you're not giving, and if there's built-in excuses, there's this, and there's a lot of things wrong with that. But it's just another way to exploit the fans, in my opinion. And you had a comment afterwards, and I have been using it every time somebody texts me a picture and saying Oklahoma State's wearing QR codes. And you made a mention Tuesday afternoon and say, well, is there a withdrawal button to say, you know what, he threw a bad pass there, so I want money coming out of that collective, or that $100 I gave for that kid making a touchdown who just dropped a touchdown pass. I'm going to take that $100 back.
Well,
it's what a world, dude.
Have you ever been around? I had a friend is too strong of a word, an acquaintance.
Oh boy.
And he would, and I've heard of others doing this. I don't. He's the only one that I've actually seen do it. And this is going back, this is not anything recent. But have you ever heard or been around somebody who, like when a waitress or a waiter comes to the table, they'll like lay down, and I think in those, I'm trying to remember now, my memory's a little hazy on the specifics, but it was CTE. Like he would lay down like a $20 bill or a $10 bill and say, you know, this is your tip if you provide service. And then if like they got something with the order wrong and say, oh, that's $2 away. And they would use it, to me, kind of an ultimate jerk move.
Sure.
But the idea behind it, I can actually support. I do think too often it's like, well, no, you just automatically, I think there are people that think they are just entitled to the tip. And it's like, well, no, it is actually supposed to be for service above and beyond. But certainly you have it the other way where it's like, okay, you got service above and beyond, and you're the jerk that isn't leaving any tip or a very small tip or whatever. So that can work both ways. But could you see like one of the big money calling up the quarterback, hey, you play well today, $1,000, but you could play your way down to nothing. I'm just letting you know. Go out and win one here for the
That's it.
The alumni.
Shoot me a text.
And so
$10,000 if you throw 3 touchdowns tomorrow. You owe me 10 if you throw 3 picks.
But so this is
That's
the
pressure.
thing. Do you think I don't know. I think it could have a negative impact, but also, like, for me, I'm not clicking on the QR code if Penn State does it, but I'm not going to not.
I want to see how
it's impacting
broadcast
me. Yeah, it is. There's going to be a lot of elements that I think are going to be fascinating to watch this season specifically, but the upcoming few years, to see how all of this evolves. What are I'm sure you're hearing stories. I'm getting stories, and I am definitively not getting into specifics here, but there are guys out there who are are benefiting from NIL, but they are busting their tails to like it's not just, hey, give me money. It's what can I do for you?
Sure.
How can I help your company? What can we collaboratively do? Like, there are those individuals. And then there are individuals saying, dude, look at me. Look at how good I am. Where's my money? Give me my money. Well, believe it or not, even if you are elite, that rubs people the wrong way. Even if you're not elite, if you're a likable person and you're willing to go out and do a little extra for that money, people notice that, they appreciate it.
And I agree.
How this whole thing evolves, again, it is going to be fascinating. I love the idea of the collective, not the collective organizations, but the idea of the players of these teams going to an event or helping promote an event, collaboratively,
earning
and then
the money.
Yes, and then sharing that wealth with each other. I think that's
people want to be around athletes and football players and stuff. You
for
just
sure.
gotta pay to do it now, and as long as the athletes aren't jerks, I think it's a very successful thing, and I hope that they don't ruin it.
But it takes
personally,
it takes one guy who may not even be a jerk. We've talked about this. I know over the years. It's probably been a long time, but you could have, and this is what is sometimes I think very tough for fans and even media members to understand. So we all have bad days. Like, there are days where I can't explain it. I'm just in a bad mood. It's not even that anything. I mean, there are days where I can't explain it and things are going horribly. But there's days where it's just like you roll out of bed and it's like, crap. Here we go. And it's like you just want to be left alone. You don't want to. Well, if you're a celebrity, a big-time athlete in a college town, certainly counts. You could be gracious 99% of the time. People come up, man, you sign autographs, you're great with them, you pose for pictures with kids, but you have a day where, man, you've got a big test, you're just you're hiding out in the corner of the restaurant, trying to get it done. Your kiddo comes over, it's like, listen, I just not today, I can't be bothered. Well, now your kid and you, it's like, yeah, that guy couldn't even take the 10 seconds to sign. It's one experience, but with social media especially, again, maybe that guy has signed literally 999 out of 1,000 autograph requests, but now this one time, which in the overall perspective, you're like, well, no, I completely get it. But now this guy gets labeled as, well, it's going to be the concern there, Goon, is, right, it takes one player at one event one time, and it's like, that group, this guy blew us off and left half an hour early. Well, maybe it was because he just got bad news about a family member. Maybe he got, and hopefully that stuff gets explained. But I'm just saying it. I know from over the years we've had people who I know are good people, and I hear people that have had an experience with them and are like, it was not a good experience. And now there are other people too who it's amazing how many people will tell you the same story about yeah, this guy was arrogant, and it's, well, yeah, that guy said the same thing. That guy said. So there are players and individuals, and just like out in society, there are people that are just jerks. They're consistently jerks. But there are, I think, a lot more people who are consistently trying to do the right thing, trying to be helpful, but man, you might have caught them in that one day, one time where they're just not.
I get it.
It happens.
What about after a loss? You got to walk outside, and there's 1,000 little kids around there. But what gets athletes the most, and this is probably way off a subject, is it's not the kids.
Oh, yes.
It's the adults who are like, dude, I signed 10
and they feel entitled
last week, and they're pushing grandma and little kids out of the way to get your autograph.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you need to chill. You need to relax here. But, yes, there are times when athletes and, people in general just like, I just want to enjoy dinner.
Give me a night.
Yeah.
Give me an hour here where you leave me alone.
But if it's a kid, the kid doesn't understand that. And,
and the parent of the kid sure doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
And as a parent of a kiddo, I mean, I get it as far as it goes. Like if you're going to an event or you're seeing one of your heroes, right? And I'm talking about the kid, but as a parent, you want that to be a wonderful experience. I mean, I get it, but I also get that not always, even with the best people. Yep.
Ask me my most hated Philadelphia Philly.
Who's your most hated?
The best player in Philadelphia Philly history is Mike Schmidt.
Yeah.
And I can't stand that. Can't stand him.
Because?
And I am not the only one. But, I mean, imagine this. You are a guest of the Orland Winmore Little League Little League banquet.
Yeah.
He went there with Chris Wheeler. Mike Schmidt's there. Mike Schmidt didn't want to sign autographs, and you're at a Little League banquet.
Yeah.
So I'm 11 years old. I led the league in RBIs or something like that, so I got an award to take a picture with him. Like, hey, can you sign this? Now, afterwards, maybe. And then he was gone. And then I'm 35 years old down at Phillies in Clearwater. I'm in the third base box. We're having a good time, me and a bunch of my buddies. Schmitty walks by. We're like, hey, Mike, can we get a picture of you? He just kept on walking and said, yeah, I'll be back. And I sat there as a 34-year-old going, I know why I can't stand that guy. I can't stand him since I was 11 years old, and now I still can't even stand him again. He big-timed me twice, man. We have a minute?
Yeah. About that, yep.
Okay, I'll give you a great other story, and that is Ryan Howard. Just won the home run derby in Pittsburgh. Comes back. My buddy's getting married on a Friday night down in the city of Philadelphia. We are in Philadelphia on Thursday night for the rehearsal party. The guy's future wife goes over to Ryan Howard, who's having dinner with his wife, with his girlfriend at the time. He's like, hey, I'm married tomorrow. And my buddy was like, geez. He ran over, grabbed his fiance, future wife, grabbed her and said, come on, let's go. Enjoy your meal, Ryan. Sorry about that. So me and my other buddies are watching Ryan Howard to see how he acted, right? And I was very interested in seeing how he acted. Stood up, paid for his meal, looked at his girlfriend. She was mad. He gave her the finger like, I'll be back in a minute. Came over, walked up to my buddy who just pulled his fiance away from him and says, congratulations on your wedding tomorrow. I hope it's a long, fruitful marriage. Did not have to do it. No reason to do it. We would have felt no different about him. Yeah. And I looked at my buddy and I said, I will never say a bad word about Ryan Howard ever again. And that goes a long way. Think about that.
No, there's no question. It's
Hey, you have a good weekend,
Kindness
buddy.
matters.
Have a good weekend, my brother.
Yes, indeed. Again, Center County Red Zone tomorrow night from 7 to 10 as the high school football season gets underway. Enjoy the college action on Saturday.
Do you have enough people doing the games?
Yes. Okay. We will talk to you on Tuesday. Until then.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento Hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
The State College Spikes are hitting the field all summer long. Enjoy fun, affordable family entertainment as the future of baseball is on display in Happy Valley. Spikes teams have something for everyone at the new-look Medler Field at Lebrano Park. From great giveaways to fantastic deals, from special appearances to plenty of fireworks, all the way through September 3rd. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or get the schedule and buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.